So this is now our second video on changing the subject of a formula. Today's lesson we're going to look at just some different types of questions involving changing the subject, so it's important that you watch the first video to make sure you know how to tackle those types of questions. So again, in each of these formula we're going to be making x the subject. So if you remember, what that means is we get x on its own. If we look at the first example, we have y equals 2wx. So basically we have 2w alongside x, so we need to get rid of that 2w on the right hand side. And if you remember from the last lesson, what we have to do to get rid of the 2w is do the opposite operation of what it's currently doing with the x. So 2w is multiplying with the x, so to get rid of it we have to divide by 2w. But again, and this is why I mentioned in the last lesson, it's important to watch the video on solving equations, because the method is the same. What we do to the right hand side, we must also do to the left hand side. So if I'm dividing by 2w over here to get rid of 2w, I have to do the same on the left hand side. So what this is y divided by 2w, which we write as y over 2w. If you remember from the last lesson, that's how we show a division. Is equal to 2w divided by 2w is 1, so they cancel each other out. 1x, which is just x. And again, from the last lesson, it's better if we are to swap the left and the right hand side around, so the term that's on its own, as in the x that is now the formula, is on the left hand side. So it's x equals y over 2w, and it's fine just to leave our answer like that. Okay, our next example, okay, again just another slightly different type of question. We need to get rid of the 3b that is adding with the c and the x on the right hand side. So to get rid of the 3b, just keep in mind what it's doing over here. 3b is adding the cx, so we're going to get rid of this first. So to get rid of plus 3b, we minus 3b. But just again, remember what I do to the right hand side, I must do to the left hand side. So how we write this: a take away 3b, well, we just simply write that as a minus 3b. Nothing too complex about that. Is equal to 3b take away 3b, which is 0, so it's gone, which is equal to cx, which is what's left on the right hand side. Now to get rid of this c, because again it's x that we want on its own, remember the c is multiplying with the x, so we just divide by c. But again, just keep in mind we have to do that to the left hand side also. So how we write that is a minus 3b all divided by c, so we write that as a fraction just like that, okay, is equal to x on its own, because c divided by c is 1x, which is just x. And again, like in previous questions, just swap the left and the right hand side around, so we have x on its own on the left, so it's a minus 3b all over c on the right. Okay, moving on, two more examples we're going to look at, again just of a slightly different nature each time. Again, I want to get x on its own, so I need to get rid of the e and the f. Let's get rid of this f on its own first in this type of question. So the f is on the bottom line of the fraction, so therefore it is dividing. So to get rid of it, I have to do the opposite of divide by f, which is multiply by f. But again, just keep in mind I have to do that to the left hand side as well. So d times f is just written as df, which is equal to, we've got x plus e, because we haven't done anything to that top line yet. And all we have to do to get rid of this plus e is just minus e. But if I take away e from the right hand side, I have to take away e from the left hand side. So we just write that as df take away e, because that's all it is equal to x, e take away e is 0, so it is gone. And again, we'll just swap the left and the right hand sides around, so x equals df minus e. Okay, we will look at one more example, and I will do a third video at looking at the slightly harder examples of rearranging the formula again. But on this occasion, in this example, we have g is equal to h bracket x minus I close bracket. So we have to get rid of the h and the I, but again, working backwards, we're going to get rid of this h first. This h is multiplying with everything that is inside the bracket. So to get rid of the h, I have to divide by h. Okay? But if I divide by h on the right, I have to divide by h on the left. So this is g divided by h, which again, just remember we write as a fraction. G over h is equal to h divided by h, which is 1. 1 times everything in that bracket means that bracket, what's inside it stays the same. X minus I. We can now get rid of the bracket. And now I have to get rid of the I. So the I is taken away. So to get rid of minus I plus I. But if I plus I on the right, I have to plus I on the left also. So we just write that as G over H plus I is equal to X. X is now the subject of the formula. But again, let's just write that on the left hand side and swap the left and the right hand side of the formula around. So X is equal to G over H plus I. So again, I will post some questions to have a go at, and anything you're unsure about, just ask, and I will do another lesson with even more difficult examples of rearranging a formula.